So hello, everyone. Welcome to the Demetra K Show, where we promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people with the emphasis on even, because we are a great people, but we can always strive to do better. Also like to say a big giant thank you to Donovan, the recovering Democrat Sadiq, as he sits here with me several days a week to bring forth information. Also like to say hello and big giant welcome and thank you to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, the other side of the conversation. You all are not just viewers, but you are participants, because now we share the link for you all to come on and have your say. So we look forward to seeing you all and what you have to say about this today. We're going to be pondering the question of why are the Divine Nine and the NAACP speaking for all of us? And it's not just them. It's a whole host of other Black people, if you will, or organizations that somehow got appointed to be our spokespeople. When I say our, I mean Black people. So, of course, we're going to get into that and anything else you guys want to talk about today. Let's see who's on here. Moni, how you doing? And Pudge Nice, what's going on with you? And so, Donovan, what say you before we get started?
Hey, before we get started, this is a very, very important topic. So please share this on your platforms, share it wherever you can share it. And we'll get everybody's opinion and just get the people knowledgeable about what's going on. Because it amazes me that a lot of people weren't aware of the $5 million suggested in San Francisco here in California. So we got to spread the word. But do us a favor, hit the like, share, and subscribe button. And also, if you so desire and are blessed to do so, please, if you want to contribute to the program, we have ways of doing that. If you look at the scrolling thing at the bottom, we've got PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, checks, money orders, IOUs, whatever you got to do. You know, we're going to take them to help us get this message out. Demetra, this is a very, very serious topic here, and it's a good question. I'm glad you brought it up, and it's going to be very, very interesting what our co-hosts have to say. Let's get into it.
Yes, indeed. So, anyway, y'all, as Donovan said, you guys may or may not know. Hey, Brother Reggie, how you doing? San Francisco, California, for a while, in addition to a whole host of other places in the United States, have been discussing that of reparations for American descendants of slavery, and that reparations is a debt that is owed to us due to what our ancestors have endured through the institution of slavery. Well, again, San Francisco, through a committee, decided that it's a preliminary more than anything at this point, that Black San Franciscans should get $5 million and then an additional almost about $97,000 for 250 years. Now, I don't know who's going to be alive for that long, but I guess you get the point. $97,000 plus all personal debt paid off, in addition to being able to purchase a home for $1. So that is the package that they propose. But then, of course, you have your regular people who are saying, well, we don't think they should get it. And I'll say regular people, y'all know what I mean, white supremacists and other people who are like, well, I didn't have, my family didn't own slaves and all that other stuff. So why should I pay for something? And this was a long time ago and you guys should get over it. So we expect to hear those things from people like that. But what about our own people? Now, when I say our own people, I do use that term loosely. Of course, you guys also heard about a pastor by the name of Amos Brown in San Francisco. Sounds like he's also the NAACP president. He basically said, we reject the $5 million. And I'm going to put that up in just a minute. But also, when you think about something like the NAACP, you think of, them helping Black people. Well, not necessarily. I want to show you all the founders. Let me put this up really quick. Hello, Robin. How you doing? Who else came on here? Jan, Michael. What's going on? Ellis, what's going on with you? All right, so I'm going to add this. Last time my screen was acting crazy. Hopefully it'll do right this time. So as you can see here are the founders of the NAACP that was founded in 1908. Now, it was founded due to race riots that took place in Springfield, Illinois. And they, along with other people, came up with the NAACP. Now, if you look at the mission statement of the NAACP, it does not say specifically for Black people. As you can see there, it says National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Colored people is what they called us back then. It's funny because not too long ago, my brother's white neighbor, we're having a discussion. She goes, oh my God, I don't even know what to call you guys anymore. Is it colored? And I just started busting up. I was like, Damn. I was like, I don't think I've ever been called colored before, but whatever, lady. So anyway, but their mission really is to help everybody, right? So I just want y'all to get a good look at the founders. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 white people, 5 white people out of what is it? 9 of the founders. And so there it is, right? So let's move fast forward to today. You have the president of the NAACP, San Francisco, and this is what they put out originally. Let me go all the way back. Okay, so originally, and this is a couple of days ago, they put up San Francisco NAACP rejects the $5 million reparation payments to Blacks, calls for reparation to focus on investment and opportunities in 5 key areas at Board of Supervisors meeting on reparation today. So it's kind of small there, but it says invest in education, economic empowerment, housing, healthcare, and then the other one is so small. They want to do something with the Fillmore Health Center. So none of those things really talk about giving Black people money specifically, right? As usual, they want to try to tell people what to do. Again, that's another group of Black people that's speaking for the rest of us, right? Now, of course, that reparations package only applies to those Black people in San Francisco, but you guys get the point. And then after a whole lot of backlash that came their way, they issued this, and it says updated clarification on reparations. And then, they say NAACP San Francisco branch clarification on the rejection of $5 million reparation payment. And then in a nutshell, they basically said, we don't know enough about the money. They're saying that the committee hasn't really said how they're going to get the money, where the money is going to come from, and that they wanted to go into programs and, different things like that. But again, who died and gave them the right to speak for us, right? Like who made them the authority? Well, I'll tell you who made them the authority. White supremacy made them the authority, and we made them the authority to speak for us, right? Because we've been listening to them. And I also want to throw the Divine Nine in there. Now, a few of them got mad at me on Twitter when I said who made you guys the spokespeople for us. And then one lady, she's like, well, please do not refer to us this way. And, blah, 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 wah, 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 is what I heard, right? And I said, nah, y'all are complicit too, because y'all marched around in your chucks and your pearls, and y'all got together, and it was Ricky Smiley admitted that I think it was D.L. Hughley, Steve Harvey, they get together and compare talking points of what they're going to disseminate to Negroes, and we know where they get their talking points from, right? Of course, you got your Roland Martin. He's not excused from this either. I heard that he was going in on the president of San Francisco, but so what? Roland Martin sells a lot of nothing to Black people. I heard him on the Breakfast Club the other day talking about they need to educate us about voting and this, that, and the others. Like, no, we're done listening to y'all about voting, because look what y'all want us to vote for. Y'all continuously want us to vote for the Democrats who do nothing for Black people. And yes, I know the Republicans ain't no better, because I know somebody's going to say, what about the Republicans? We're not talking about the Republicans, because the Republicans don't come to our doorsteps with fish and line dancing and strippers and anything else you can think of, right? That's the Democrats and Roland Martin and all the rest of them. They tell us, they do all these scare tactics, right? All of you get the Republicans in there, this and that's going to happen, and you Negroes don't know what you're doing. You guys aren't educated enough, so y'all need to listen to us, right? That's kind of what I hear. And one time, Roland Martin was talking about, how we're not very versed on the issues and, all that kind of stuff. So I guess they need to kind of spoon feed us, or, like a little bird gives its chicks food. That's kind of what I was hearing. And so again, who gave them the right to speak for us? We did. White supremacy does. So at what point in time do we say enough? We're not listening to you. And Malcolm X said to us so many years ago, ask yourself, why does a white person want to sit at the helm of a Black organization? What is in it for them? If you ask me, it's to give the illusion of unity, right? We want to make sure we know everything that Black people are doing. So we'll sit at the helm of these organizations and Black people will follow us. That's what it is. And so, again, Malcolm X told us to ask the question as to why. So Donovan, what say you?
All right. Good evening, everybody. I was in these comments. Everybody's, going in. Like I said, I think, Demetra, I got to be honest. I think we have some of the smartest co-hosts out there on the internet sites, because these people be talking truth. So good heads up to you. Yeah. A lot of this stuff is just, it's controlled opposition. I think one of our people said that in the comments. Forgive me for not scrolling to say that, but yeah, it's all controlled opposition. There's always going to be some Negroes out there that is going to take a few dollars, like Roly-Poly Martin and all these other people, to deliver votes and to deliver a certain agenda. And it's unfortunate, but every group of people have those type people. Now, Momo Monroe brought up a good point, and they were saying that they gave up the $5 million for a $50 million grant. And I think, Momo, you were kind of alluding because of the pastor, Amos, whatever his name is. He's president of the NAACP. He wanted the $50 million more so for the NAACP than he does for the grassroots people that they actually do. Now, I always ask people this. Since the 1960s, what has the NAACP done for me or done for you? And when I bring that out, nobody says anything. How many of you guys just recently watched the NAACP Image Awards? Was that the NAACP Image Awards, or was that the NAACP LGBTQ Awards? Because that's what it seemed like all it promoted in regards to what they're putting out there and standing up for, LGBT. And don't get me wrong. Yes, they need to be stood up for, whatever. But if you're a predominantly national advancement of colored people, and we do have LGBT plus people that are Black, shouldn't that be the agenda first, not all this other stuff? And this is why they send these agents out to misguide us and to take these resources that are very limited to other groups. And as we know, as Black people, whenever we include other people in our struggle, who benefits? Definitely not us.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm just going through some of these comments, and yes, controlled opposition is exactly what it is. And we don't really know what that is on the surface, right? We think that there are friends, right? I mean, how many of us have been taught from children that the NAACP, well, if you grew up in my household, you wasn't taught that, but that the NAACP, and I'll be honest with you, I worked with the NAACP, and so did Donovan. When I was in California, I did some public relations for them, and we saw a whole lot of nonsense. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, it's just like, you have to have been there, right? I'll give y'all a perfect example. We got invited to Sacramento because they go up there annually to Sacramento, the state capital, to try to lobby the assembly people for different things. And so we're sitting at the table, Donovan and Donovan got cussed out by an older lady, not once but twice, but we'll get into that later. So we're sitting at our table, and they're like, well, let's come up with a bill to make store owners, like white store owners or whoever, not racially discriminate against Black people. So I'm sitting there and I'm listening. I'm like, wouldn't it be easier to tell us to stay out of those stores and say, why would we give our money to anybody who doesn't, that's going to profile us and stuff? And they were like, well, no, we got to, make sure they understand. So it's like, so basically y'all saying we're going to force these people who really don't want us in there, they just want our money, we're going to force them to not profile us? I was like, yeah, I can't be involved with that. So needless to say, that whole day went downhill. Donovan took off on his own excursion. He completely left me with a group of people walking from office to office to office. And I was like,
well, anyway. wait. And real quick, but you got to remember, Willie Brown was in the foyer. Willie Brown was in the foyer.
Yeah, so Willie Brown, he was a congressman, a representative rather. Y'all know that was Kamala Harris.
He was the former Speaker of the House of California, and he was Kamala Harris's patriarch. Let me say it that way.
He was her boss, and then he was her boo thing, right? So Willie Brown, I guess he was in the building somewhere. When I tell you, I envisioned Spanx and bloomers and girdles just flying all over the place. These women lost their minds. When I say these women, they were older women. They were like, it's Willie Brown. So I got snatched up in the melee and they wanted me to take pictures of them. And I'm like, is this real life? But okay, whatever. So there's a lot going on. So
yeah, and then and we're not here to download to downgrade the NAACP. We're just telling you what we saw. And let me tell you something. While the leadership of our particular chapter that we supported took planes up there and rode in comfort, they put us on a bus with no bathroom. And it was horrific. It was a horrific trip. And, annually the NAACP goes down to like the Virgin Islands and they meet in certain places. It's all like a vacation thing. And then they come back and you say, okay, what's happening? What's going on? And there's nothing really that they can say in your community specifically that they do. And so what I got out of it, I can't speak for Demetra, what I got out of it was they go on these little trips wherever it's scheduled every year as a form of a vacation and a goodwill thing. And this is where all your dues and money goes to, in my opinion, because when they come back, I don't see any results.
He has a lot going on. Thunder says, is it possible that they know that they will be out of a job? It's possible, but I mean, that's just what they do. And when I say they, I mean the old hats, if you will. I'm not talking about older people per se. I'm just saying the old guard, if you will. They've been put there by white supremacy to keep the rest of us docile. I know some people don't like when I bring up the Big Six, but look it up. Big Six included that of Martin Luther King, John Lewis, and a few other people, 4 other people. Their names escape me right now. But they were summoned by the John F. Kennedy administration to keep Black people docile because, they all had their own organizations. So John F. Kennedy says, well, we'll give you guys a bunch of money. I think it was like $1.5 million at the time between all of them to go back, pretend like you want to get progress for Black people, but don't really let them cut up too much because, as Malcolm X said, they wanted to go lie on the tarmac at LaGuardia to really disrupt things, to stop planes from landing and all of that. And JFK was like, no, we can't have them doing that, but we can't tell them no outright. So we need y'all to go and pretend. And so nothing has changed, right? And Donovan, you said since the 1960s that the NAACP hasn't been in effect, but you asked me since the inception of 1908, they have not been there. Their purpose was not to serve Black people ever. It was an illusion of serving Black people. Now at the time, there was a lot of lynchings and stuff going on. So yeah, I guess they have to say something to some degree. But if the NAACP was really there to advance colored people, wouldn't we be advanced? You know what I mean? So anyway, let me get to these comments before I open up the link. I love and appreciate every last one of y'all for being here. Hello, Brother Samuel. How are you doing? I mean to catch the message from today from the NOI.org. I will watch that later on. Let's see who else came on here. Tito, what's going on with you? Sean, how are you? Says James Baldwin spoke out about the NAACP. Slick ass. Yes, James Baldwin was the truth. He spoke a lot of truth to power and was very honest to Black people and about Black people and, the relationship with white supremacy. So absolutely. Robin says the bottom line is this. If they're turning down $5 million for Black folks, then they shouldn't be accepting grant money to dispense around amongst themselves to do whatever they want for themselves. You would think, right? And Tanya, you says the fake boule needs to stay out of politics and start giving endowments to the HBCUs. They are behind with their sorry asses. They worry about titles. And yes, I should say the Divine Nine, I forgot to say, are sororities and fraternities of HBCUs. Of course, Kamala Harris is one. She's with the pink and green, whoever they are. So yeah, they have a lot of say-so, if you will, in the Black community. And I'm not saying that they're totally useless. I'm not saying that. I'm sure they do things, but as far as them being the spokesman and spokeswomen for Black people, as far as politics and how the rest of us live our lives, absolutely not. Bud in your mouth. And like you said, Tanya, go fix the things that y'all got wrong. Stop worrying about the rest of us. We will not be taking instruction from any of you guys anymore. And that's including the NAACP or any of these other celebrities who think that because they got a little checky check from Biden or whoever, that we just going to take instructions. That's not how that works. Sorry, not sorry. And Brother Don, he says, wait till I tell you what's really going on up here. Okay. And let's see, let me just move right along. Donna, what's going on with you? And Elder Dwayne, how you doing? Says the smart black people are not listening to people like Roland Martin, etc. NAACP is full of mess. Yes, indeed. But I'm not saying we're not smart people. Black people are smart, but there's a lot of us who fall prey rather to the appeal to authority. If it's Roland Martin that's saying it, because we've seen him all on TV and all this other stuff. If Steve Harvey, Ricky Smiley, and everybody else, the NAACP, if they're saying it, oh, we must listen. They must know what they're talking about, right? That's the appeal to authority. Just because a person is in a position of authority does not also mean that they're right. I mean, Hitler was in some sort of a position of authority and he was not right. You know what I mean? Jim Jones, he had some authority. Was he right? At the end, the answer is no. He had people drinking Kool-Aid that was laced with cyanide. So, you know what I mean? All right, who else came on here? Dave, what's going on with you? Says NAACP helped DACA in Supreme Court 3 years ago. Yeah, absolutely. And only panelists, wait, how are you doing? Beverly White, what's going on? Now, who else? Entree, what's going on with you? Says yes. And as I got older, you can see they aren't doing anything for us. Yeah, I mean, little things here and there, and y'all want to keep it all the way 100. Now, don't get mad at me. I just like to say things the way they are. Y'all remember somebody by the name of Rachel Dolezal? Y'all remember that white lady who was passing off as black? Y'all know that black lady was actually doing things to help black people. Like, she was way different from a lot of the presidents of the NAACP, which is probably how she got caught, because they was like, nah, something ain't right here. She actually doing stuff. The rest of the presidents, they don't really be doing stuff like that. So, but she was a white woman passing off as black, but she was actually really helping black people. Well, she's helping herself too, but y'all know what I mean. Pamela says NAACP is farce, and they is a farce, and they've been using black people for years, and it needs to stop like right now. Yeah, and that's got to be up to us, right? Robert says all the black folks in this country, why is the NAACP giving scholarships to Asians and Hispanics? We don't have children that can use those scholarships because we allow them to do it. I'm just speaking for me. I can't tell y'all what to do. They need to be shunned. Like whenever we hear them saying, well, we think black people, no, nah, we're not going for it. We're not listening to y'all anymore. Look where listening to y'all has gotten us. You know what I mean? Anytime Ricky Smiley or D.L. Hewley or Steve Harvey, any of them come on the radio, well, Biden, we need to vote for Biden and Kamala. Nope, turn the station. We're not listening to y'all anymore. Because look what the Biden administration has not done for black people, and yet they kind of stay quiet. Like they might say something little here and there, but they're not as demonstrative as they were when they was trying to get Kamala in the White House, and they was using us to do it. You know what I mean? With the Chucks and Pearls. And Eunice, what's going on?
Real quick, I wanted to touch on that real quick. What's her name? Amanda Seales. I saw her on a video and she took Kamala to Harris. Now, remember, Amanda Seales was a big Kamala supporter. She was like, she's a woman. She's going to get in there and do this. She looks like us. It takes women to get stuff done. When you're the number 2 person in the government, you don't think she going to go tell Joe Biden what he needs to do in regards to her people? Now she's talking about a different tune. And now she's saying she made a mistake. And I'll give her props for doing that, because it takes a lot to say, hey, I made a mistake, or, I have to backtrack. But the bottom line is a lot of women who put the Biden administration in after 3 years, as you have seen, because remember when they first got in there, give him time. He's only been in there, 30 days, 40 days. But in 45 days, he reversed a lot of things that the previous administration had done and had given other groups what they wanted from him within 45 days. He did all of that within 45 days. Here we are 3 years forward. Nothing but symbolism has been given to Black people. And again, it took the Black women significantly, and Black men, that followed right behind to put this man in office, and we got nothing for it. So now we have an election about to come up again. Are we going to be following the same thing over again? The new Black media has been telling you guys for years, we got to change it up. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Absolutely. So LS, it was Andrew Young, Ralph Abernathy, but Jesse Jackson wasn't one of them. Oh gosh, the other one escapes my mind. It'll come to me in a minute, and I'll look it up too. But yeah, it was 6 of them, and you guys can you can look it up. But they were very complicit in taking money to pretend that they were actually helping Black people. And of course, you guys know that Martin Luther King Jr. took an award from that of Margaret Sanger of Planned Parenthood. She was really one of those at the helm of the eugenics program. The eugenics program, for those of you guys don't know, was a program also called the Negro Project, where they were trying to exterminate or terminate Black people because we were no longer an asset after slavery. We were considered a burden on society. And so that's how Planned Parenthood came about. But Martin Luther King did take an award from her. And he said via Coretta Scott King that he would always consider that one of his most prized possessions. Now, she had already, she being Margaret Sanger, 30 years before she even gave him the award, was documented saying we need to find a Negro preacher, a prominent Negro preacher that has respect amongst Black people, somebody that they would listen to spearhead this whole program that we got going on. And he actually received a award. So y'all can look it up if y'all don't believe me. Yes, Brother Reggie. Philip Randolph, Whitney Young, that's the one I couldn't think of. James Farmer, MLK, John Lewis, and Roy Wilkins. So yeah, you actually have all of the names that got that little money there, to pretend that they were helping Black people. So thank you so much. Let's see here. Brother Nine says it was created on the same day as the ADL by the same people, them folks. Okay. I was just trying to think of the dates, but yeah, I think you're on to something there. Mansa Musa, how you doing? And let's see, panelist says the Big Six just wanted to make sure they got their Social Security. What they did realize is that these same people they got in bed with, they would have to keep kissing them folks behind. Yes, indeed. Who else came on here? Rain Love, how are you doing? And Thunder says, question, do you think there will be protests on? Ooh, we're going to talk about that. Don't let us forget to talk about what may or may not happen on Tuesday. I have my theories. So don't worry, we will talk about that. So don't let me forget. Honeydew, how you doing? Trinity Love, what's going on with you? Says originally founded by Caucasians to front as an establishment by way of empty symbolism to simply Sokual. Maybe I'm reading it wrong, politically, or maybe I meant social. Political control, the narrative of African Americans, economic, racial issues. Very good. Monet, how are you doing? And Brother Sam, you say, Minister Farrakhan did a lecture series on the subject, Are Black Organizations Really Ours? I need to check that out. If I have, I've probably seen it already, but I would love to watch it again. But that is a really good question, right? Tanya says, did you see how Fox and friends with their racist butts were kiki and being so disrespectful of the $5 million reparation plans? Well, see, we expect that from them, right? We know that white people don't want us to have that money, but our people, and then they're so out in the open with it, is like, what's really going on here? And I wouldn't even doubt that they got money to get out there and say, this is a bad idea. I bet you they got a check to do it. I don't know. Just something tells me that they did. All right. Let's see here. I'm moving down so I can catch up a little bit. LS says Rachel Dolezal is sitting on sister attributes. Well, as Farrakhan said so many years ago, y'all mad at Rachel Dolezal for picking up what y'all threw away in the back alley. Says y'all don't like it. You need talking to Black women, your full lips, your skin, your hair, your eyes, and y'all looking like white women. But she came and picked it up, and now y'all mad at her, huh? And Brother Sam says here's a lifetime member of the NAACP, I believe. Here says we got to get into position. I think you meant to free Black organizations and free them from the oppressor's control. So are you saying you're a lifetime member? And Pudge Knight says the Black celebrity has been used since the 50s. Yep. And Malcolm X told us about them as well, right? And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Farrakhan too. And let's see here. Extreme X, how are you doing? It says, of course they will. All right, so let's see. Let me moving right along so I can catch up here. And then I want to open up the link. Eunice says the reason why the Divine Nine and the NAACP is speaking for us is because they are part of the so-called gatekeepers of the Black community. They keep their rusty mouth. They need to keep their rusty mouths closed. Exactly. And they have been allocated to be the gatekeepers. And it's like, we don't want y'all to do that no more because y'all only keeping the stuff for yourself, right? Getting us to vote for more of nothing is ridiculous. Only Pamela's Way says, I believe he is documented just like you said. I read it. And Brother Marcus, thank you so much for sharing the link on Facebook. If you guys want to comment, please click the link. I would love to read your comments. And Lisa, how are you doing? Says, our people need to know when to pivot between parties on policy and learn your voting rights through the Board of Elections in their area states. Yeah, so that's another thing too. We do need to become politically mature, really learn the issues. And I always say, stop being told who to vote for. Like, who to vote for. Go look it up for yourself, right? Donovan used to always talk about the name, right? And that's what a lot of us vote on, the name. Oh, that I know her. Oh, I know him. He's been in office a long time. Yeah, because we see the yard signs, right? See the yard signs, and that's who I'm voting for. It's like, but why? Well, we always been voting for them. But why? I don't know. I just do. So it's like, yeah, you got to kind of know what you're doing, right? And Trinity says, money is power, not voting rights. You better believe it. Robin says, I'm not protesting, marching, nor rallying for Massa Trump, nor Massa Biden. Darius, how you doing? Says, individuals and or organizations say and or do I think think and make wise moves for myself. With God's help, I'm pro-Black individualism, 1,000%. However, to each your own next. So you're saying you're all about yourself. Well, that's fair. You can be. And no worries, Lisa. No worries. We understand. And hello to you again. Let's see. Black America says she's a fine white girl. Who you talking about? Rachel Dolezal? Lord have mercy. Trinity says monetary, tangible reparations, African Americans in parentheses. Okay. Let's see here. Brother Samuel says Minister Farrakhan is a lifetime member. Okay. Got you. That's interesting. Let's see here. Extremes. X says, love what you guys are doing. Black people gonna go right back out there and put Joe in office. Ain't that sad? It's like, why? Why are you gonna do that? All right. So the link is now open. Donovan, what say you while the link is opening?
Well, again, it's no secret that the Democrats want Donald Trump to be the front runner. And just like some of our people have been saying, we're going to put Biden right back in office out of fear of Trump coming back into office. Our ignorance of what the Trump administration actually did for Black people. And Demetra, and you say it all the time, and you're not a Trump supporter. Trump, if one thing that he did do was make us wake up and say, there is no lifesaver. We are on our own. Trump, he did start some initiatives. Trump really doesn't care. He started some initiatives for Black people to get out of jail and stuff that Democrats were not doing. But the one thing that he did do, it made us look at ourselves and say the government is not the answer to our problems other than giving us our money. And Trump was even open to that idea of giving us the money. Biden is not talking about that at all. To get to office, well, if it comes across my desk, this is what he said when he won office. If it comes across his desk, he will sign it. That there is a video of him saying that. The Democrats had power for the first 2 years of this man's administration. The majority did Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats. Let's take it from the presidency. Let's take it to your regular representatives. They had the majority. They got the Asian crime bill passed, no problem. They didn't pass one thing in regards to Black people. And we're worried about Joe Biden being racist. What about Nancy Pelosi being racist? What about Maxine Waters being racist? What about Carolyn Bass being racist? What about the CBC being racist? But they know that as long as they can put Trump out there, it's going to let Biden come right back into office unopposed and not worried about it. And think about it right now. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? Are you making any money on the stock market right now? Has inflation affected your stuff? Has gas prices gone up? Has housing? We can go on and on and on about everything that's going wrong with this current administration. The facts are just there for you to see it. If you don't want to see it, you just don't want to see it. And I'm not even Democrat. I'm not a Republican either. I'm a recovering Democrat. So it is what it is.
Yes, indeed. And Lisa, you're absolutely right. Politics is business. And people really don't understand that. We think in terms, that's why I say I'm nonpartisan. I don't belong to the Democrats. I don't belong to the Republicans. I don't belong to anybody. I want them to earn my vote. But we forget that it is a business. Anybody in Washington, they're there to enrich themselves, right? I mean, if that was the case, we would see more progress on the ground floor. When I say the ground floor, where the voters are. Why are we always saying there's, we don't have what we need and this, that, and the others? Because they up there enriching themselves. How is it that a congressperson or senator, they go to Washington and they're doing all right, they ain't rich, but by the time they leave, they're millionaires? Like, where are they getting this money from? Now, I know sometimes they have their own little business ventures. They have stocks where they do a little bit of insider trading, but where they getting all this money from? You know what I mean? So the link is open. I don't think that I asked you guys when you guys come on, just kind of, keep your commentary to a minimum so that everybody else can come on and say what they need to say. If you guys would, I would appreciate that. Also, I need to see your face before I put you up on the big screen. And when I see your face, it's only me that can see it. But I need to see that it's, somebody that's really going to be having something to say, because y'all know what happened the last time, about a month ago at this point. I'm slowly getting over it. So let's see here. Black America, I saw where you say, yeah, you was talking about Rachel Dolezal being a fine white girl. There's something wrong with you. And Von Eric, what's going on with you? How are you? And Rain, you say Biden never talked to Ice Cube. No, not to this day. He has not. They said, well, wait till we get in office. Well, it's like you've been there for 3 years now. Well, or so. Almost. I guess what's taking you so long? Never had the intention of doing it. Just lying as usual. Pamela says the Democrats and Republicans are liars. They all need to be fired. Yep. And L Boogie says Trump is the boogeyman. Yeah, that's what they told Black people. Trump is our boogeyman. He's going to put us back on the plantation, kind of, sort of. Pudge Knight says Biden ain't running again. Oh, he says he's running again. Now the question that they're having though is, should Kamala run with him? Because there's a lot of Democrats who aren't in love. Well, they're not really in love with the idea of Biden running, but the incumbent is rarely challenged. Challenge is like a rare thing, right? But it'd be a first time in history where they're like, well, we don't really want the vice president to run. We want somebody else. So we know, of course, they use Kamala to get Black people duped into voting, but they don't really want her because they say she doesn't do anything. She hasn't done anything. All she does, and this is kind of what they were saying, not me, that all she does is jiggle, wiggles, and giggles.
Sonny Hostin, the lady on The View, she's a big Kamala Harris supporter. And when they were talking about her as the VP and not maybe having her on the ticket, the first thing that she went to was identity politics, saying, well, see, this is what happens when a Black woman is this, and she's a woman. She's using all of the tropes that really has nothing to do with it. This woman is just she wasn't elected by Black people in general. I mean, she bailed out of her primary for the president because she was ultimately rejected by Black people. Now, she was selected by the Democrats. That's fine, good and great, but she wasn't elected to anything. So to bring in her sex and her feminism and her Blackness as a woman, I don't know what that has to do with it. The fact of the matter is she's been given a lot of projects that she was supposed to be on top of, like the border and some of these things. And those are hard issues. But as vice president, what else do you have to do? You're just there waiting for the president to die or something to happen to the president so you can take over. So she hasn't addressed the border issues. And I'm not trying to make this like a race war or a social thing, but the biggest threat to Black people in this country is the Hispanic migration back into the United States. These are the people that are taking jobs that so-called we don't want. That's factual stuff. And Kamala is letting the floodgates open to where Donald Trump was saying, oh, we need to build this wall. And if that wall was built, who does that protect more so than anybody else? Black people, because I know you guys, some of you guys are doing very well for yourselves and you don't identify with this. But the fact of the matter is 70% of Black people live below the poverty level, at the poverty level, or just above it. 70% of us do that. In this racist economic society, Black people are at the bottom of it. That's the facts. So when you let unchained migration come into the country, who gets affected first? Black people in this economic society. And that's the problem. And she's supposed to be taking care of that problem. And she hasn't done it. She does this. Let's be clear. I'm not going to do nothing specifically just for Black people. No. That's her answer.
Ah, yes, indeed. And so, Black America, I'm going to put you up here. I'm going to mute you just really quick. Let me see here.
And put Don P up when he gets a chance, because he was on the Black Authority last night. I think it was him. And he put out some really good genders last night that I think people might want to hear again tonight.
Hello, Jason. All right, so let me just see. Anybody else say anything? Yes, Donovan has a really good Kamala Harris, what do you call it? Interpretation or whatever it is.
Impression.
Y'all forgive me. I am extremely tired today. My mouth hurts. Black America, watch yourself. My mouth, see now, my mouth hurts. I got braces. My mouth hurts, and sometimes when I talk a lot, and see, they haven't tacked down the this one yet because they're still trying to straighten my tooth. So it rubs against my mouth and it hurts. But I'll be all right. Black America, what say you? Let me unmute you. Sorry, hold on. There you go.
Okay, can I just say this real quick? You opened yourself up for that one. Get your mouth open. All right. Good afternoon, good morning, good night. Hello, everybody. What's happening? So I just had a couple of quick things. Miss Camel Toe Harris, you're right, Donovan, that you can't say camel toe. You can say camel toe. That's not bad. Camels have toes. You're right. She couldn't get no brothers to vote for her or sisters, and she had to kind of pump up her black side, which I don't believe. I'm sorry. I'm just a regular guy. I don't believe Jamaicans are black, and especially not no Indians. I don't believe that they're black either. I mean, just you got Mexicans got brown skin and Guatemalans got brown skin, but if you call either one of them, they both get upset. Oh, I'm not Mexican. I'm from El Salvador. Well, you speak Spanish to me. So I really don't understand with the $5 million versus the $50 million. Were they saying they were going to give each brother and sister $5 million?
Yes. $5 million to residents, Black residents of San Francisco. And I think there's a timeline or something. They've got to, I guess, have been there for a certain time. But yeah, that's the proposal. Now, of course, it has to pass through a vote. But I think a study came from Stanford, and that's the one that they're going with. What's due?
Well, that would have been beautiful. The whole thing about it is, and you're probably not gonna like this. What them niggas gonna do with the money? See, I wouldn't. The whole thing about it is, if let's say they did give the people, and let's say you gave 20,000 people $5 million. If they aren't collectively all together using that money to buy the Golden State Warriors or something on a massive scale like that, it does no good to give it to anybody because they're not going to do nothing but come here to Vegas and blow it. You know what I mean? They gonna do? Go and buy season tickets over at the 49ers game? Like things like that just doesn't make any sense. And it'll do more harm than good to us as a community, because then the white people gonna look down from on high from their beautiful castles and say, look at that. We gave them to them and now they all got Cadillacs.
But
it sucks.
you know, if I didn't know you as well as I think I know you, I would say you're trolling us, brother. But I think you're serious. But my thing is this, and Andre, let me let you speak to it. They're gonna save my mouth. Go ahead. Well, what do you have to say? Because I see you shaking your head. Go ahead and unmute yourself. I'm sorry. Let me unmute you. There you go.
Hey, thank y'all for having me on. Here's the thing. Nobody asked any of those other ethnic groups or religious group what they did with the money or what they're going to do. Don't worry about it. You're going to have your few everywhere that are going to take the money and trick it off. And guess what? It's their money. They can do what they want to do. The majority of us, we get this money and we're going to eliminate a lot of these gatekeeping. The gates go away because we're empowered. We're working with each other, building our own cul-de-sacs, enclaves, whatever you want to call them. So when I hear people, and he's not the first person that I've heard say this, oh, y'all just gonna go trick it off on Nikes and Cadillacs and all that. Guess what? If he want to go, and again, that's $97,000 a year. If you want to take 20,000 of that and go trick it off, fine. And if you take the rest and invest it properly, like me, I invest in dividends. That's better than buying a lottery ticket. You're gonna grow that wealth.
How many black people in America? What is the percentage, my brother, of blacks that play the stock market or buy into dividends or something like that? Isn't it like 3 to 6%?
Possibly.
Okay, so then it's useless. I mean, and I understand what you're saying about the forward progress. Oh, well, we can do this, but without good money management and direction, sir, there's nothing that you could give a fool $10 million every day and he won't have it the next day.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Do you work? You're an entrepreneur?
You could call it that. No, I'm just a regular blue collar working type of guy.
Okay, and you get paid, right?
Yes.
All right, it's the same scenario. Our ancestors worked to death and everything else for free. And we're supposed to get paid because we're the offspring of that. So again, it doesn't matter if we need to have economic training or schooling or whatever the heck that is. That doesn't matter. What I choose to do,
you have kids?
I choose to do with my money is my choice.
You have kids?
Yep.
Okay, I got a bunch of kids. And I'm going to tell you like I told my kids. I'm giving you all the tools now. Black people, we've been getting better and better over the years and over the centuries. Because I'm not leaving you anything. All my kids think I'm rich. You won't have any of my money. If you're not working hard for your things yourself, you're going to be destitute when I'm gone. Because I'm not leaving shit to you.
Okay. And that's your choice, right? Are you being made or forced to leave them something?
No, I'm not. I'm not being forced or begged to leave them anything. What I'm saying is you give your future generations the tools that they need to progress and proceed to the next step and get better. You don't just give them everything that they want us. They end up like Trump Jr. or Paris Hilton and all of these other deviants that we see that are super rich kids and Macaulay Culkin and end on drugs and stuff like that.
So,
Black America, let me jump on in here. I can talk now about my wax. Thank you, Kimmy, for reminding me about my wax. I think I'll be able to talk just a little bit more now. Wow. I don't even really know where to start. I mean, I guess I hear what you're saying because that has been a criticism of, if they give us the money, we're just going to trick it off. But let's say this, even if we did, so what? It's our money to do that. And that's not true for everybody. I know most Black people I know are responsible with their money to a very large degree. And so to blanket that with everybody, and the other thing, when you talk about white people, they believe in leaving generational wealth to their people. How do you think that they call it old money? They leave their children rich off. Let's take life insurance, for example. Black people, I know there's a myth that we're not insured. We're very underinsured, but they say we actually are the most insured, just underinsured. So when we get policies, we don't get policies for a legacy. We get policies just to throw us in the grave, right? But when white people get it, they get money to send the kids to college, to buy houses, and to save the money that they already have, right? They don't have to dig into it to do funerals and stuff. So the point that I'm making is there's nothing wrong with us getting the generational wealth that was robbed from us. It is said now that forget what you think about, and I'm not saying just you, but I'm saying a lot of people forget what you think about us wasting the money. It is going to take us as Black people 232 years to catch up to the wealth of white people without reparations, including institutional systemic racism. So there's a lot of things going on, but to say that we shouldn't have the money because of what we're going to do to it. And you know what? My daughter, being a very smart girl, I should say woman, she's 30. She made a good point. She says, if they give us the money, they know that working class in the service industry, because it's predominantly Black people in the service industry, is going to disappear. So who will work in these jobs, the hotels, the restaurants, and all these other places if we get that money? If you get a $5 million check, are you showing up to Taco Bell? Probably not. So then that means that they gonna have to do those jobs. So there's levels to this, but as far as us not deserving the money,
they who are going to have to do the job?
Huh?
They who are going to have to do the job?
The ones that owns the means of production. The white people. If you read the Communist Manifesto, you'll learn a lot about it. They own the means of production, and now you've seen Asians and everybody else is starting to do it. But the ones that owns these corporations and things like that they will be robbed of a working class if they give us reparations, right? It's just a fact. So of course, a lot of them, they're not wanting to give Black people reparations because they're like, hey, well, who will work? You really think about it. Who's going to be that service class industry if we get that money?
So you saying let the country fall into collapse?
Why should that be our concern?
Because we live here.
But we live here, but do you care about quality of life?
Quality of whose life?
Our life.
To whom life are we speaking of?
We always gonna keep it Black. We talking about Black.
Okay,
people.
so then that's all I care about is Black people's life. If everybody stopped working, everybody's not blessed to have land where they can, I can go sit on my land and I got grapes out there now. I can grow anything on my land. But everybody's not blessed like that. It would fall into chaos. You'd have people who are in my field, in the trucking industry, the logistics. You want to see, you guys don't know how many brothers are really out here trucking. It's a lot of brothers out here trucking. You want brothers to leave these trucks on the side of the highway where you can't eat or can't get no toilet paper? Y'all think the pandemic was bad. Let something happen to people like me who move gas and diesel around the country. Everything would stop.
Let me ask you this. If you had a $5 million check, would you continue to work?
I would.
You would, but okay, let's say to most people, if they got $5 million check plus $97,000 a year, essentially till they die, do you think they will work?
No, and the country would fill up with Mexicans, just like you guys saying.
If I got $5 million plus $100,000 a year after that, do you think I would care if aliens came down here and stomped on grapes?
You definitely would. You're in Houston right now, right? So I'm gonna be down there next month. So when I go down to the border and to the border towns, and I love it, but who do you think are coming across to work in those fields every day? Do we see them? If you go up there to Salinas, up there on up there, Vineyard and Napa and all those places. Who you think working out there? It's not no black people. It's not no white people. It's Latinos. Latinos, they would be telling them to come over then, because you have to have people cleaning the sewers. You have to have plumbers. It would throw the whole country into a knot. And I understand, yes, we black people, we should be able to Cadillac and relax. We worked for 365 years because of what these other people had did. But you give somebody who is irresponsible a bunch of money like that, like when we were in the 80s and 90s and making loads of money like that, you give somebody a bunch of money like that that's irresponsible, it would change the face of our country, period.
Yeah, but that's very that is a serious trope. I know that I don't want to say it's a total trope and that there's not a tiny bit of truth to what you say, because black people in America, we do give 97% of our $1.3 trillion away every year. We do that, but that's not all of us. But even if we did do that, so you have 3% of people that's going to 3% of us black Americans that's going to do the right thing with the money. Then you're going to have 90. We'll even take it down to 85, right? Let's take it to 80%. You're going to have 80% of the people having a blast in this country. They're not even going to understand. They're not even going to understand that if you put that money in there, you're going to be able to live off the interest of the money alone. Right? They're not even going to be able to even understand that. They're going to start spending the money. And if you eat too much of the piece of your pie, you're going to be broke. And when you're broke, just like those lottery winners, you end up in a worse place.
I don't know why you are using these talking points of white people. You don't have any type of data to back up what you're saying. You're just running your mouth.
Okay, so let me give you my data.
No.
Can I give you my data?
No, you've been talking. You've been talking.
Yeah, let him speak, Black America. Just let brother. How you doing, brother Don? What you got to say?
Yeah, you don't sound much like a Black American. My family and the people that I know and associate with, we're about our business. Okay? We've had to do businesses in this country because Black people are treated so poorly. I have a financial background. I have an MBA. I run my businesses. Okay? So stop all that troping you're making, man. That's not us. And I live here in San Francisco. So stop hating on my pockets and stop watching my pockets. You didn't grow up here. You didn't have to deal with all the stuff we had to deal with up here. The hell out of here, man. And I'll tell you all about this whole NAACP thing.
We're listening, brother. Go ahead. And I want to say hello to everybody that came on. I'm sorry. I see new people that came on, but I just want to say hello, love and appreciate you for being here. All right, brother Don, what say you?
Okay, so why should, I just say this, why should the boule be the only ones that get to live the good life in America for keeping Black people down? Okay, so when Professor Black Truth did his moment of truth on Friday instead of Friday Crime Report, I almost hit the ceiling when I heard about this. See, I know that old Black fool. The homeless population in San Francisco is ridiculous. And do you know who is the greatest percentage of homeless people in San Francisco? That's right, Black people. The NAACP ain't doing shit about that. But they got a lunch program that they're getting paid on. Okay? They're about their hustle. Now, I was looking for it because I was like, where is the grift in this? Because he's talking that same old tropish bullshit too. Talking about, well, what they really need is programs. What the fuck do I need with education, man? I need money. Okay? I'll take care of my own housing and my own health care with $97,000 a year. And 5 million, hey, I can take one of it and build a nice state on the continent. Get the hell away from these folks. So anyway, I was looking for the grift. I was like, where is the grift? Where is the grift? Then Jason Black was like, do they own one of them? Because it used to be very fashionable for Black churches to put together. We got a bunch of them here. Well, it turns out one of the listeners sent him an article from 2016 about how they were suing, I guess, the management company of it. And I found out I pulled it up, and it's like, I know this place. So one of my companies is a field service company. So we work with banks and insurance companies and all these other financial people. And so I had to do an inspection of this property. This property is huge, like 5 buildings, 110 apartments. Now, this is a property that's owned by the church of that goofball, Amos Brown. Most of the tenants in there are anything other than Black. They're Hispanic, they're Asian, they're Middle Eastern. Okay, in the dead in the heart of the neighborhood he's talking about. And I'm still trying to figure out what the grift is on the Heritage Center. The Heritage Center, they rent that place out. So I'm trying to figure out what the grift is on that. But the thing is, these guys are tied into the program. They program based. Amos Brown used to be a supervisor in San Francisco. So what's the separation of church and state? This nigga's a politician, and he gets up every Sunday. Well, not really anymore because he had a stroke. But he would get up there and tell them lies. I started to grow up in that church. My grandmother took us there, and we was there every Sunday, all day. And that was when Frederick Haynes, who the housing complex is named after, when he was the pastor. But when he passed and the board elected that fool, my grandmother said, we out of here. And she would go 20 additional miles to go to another church with a pastor that she believed had integrity and was preaching the word correctly. So she left. She knew about him. What was that? 10, 55 years ago. She knew about this guy. So maybe 50 years ago. But at any rate, that's what's going on. They're trying to keep the money out of the hands of the people. Because you know how many people would leave the projects? Yeah, there's a lot of Black housing over there. And they screw Black people over. Do you know how many people would leave? Okay. So, I mean, you don't know what you're talking about. That is money that's owed to us. And that's life-changing money. Black people could actually do something. They talk about Black people don't do nothing. Black people are lazy. That's because Black people don't have an opportunity. You got to lie to get a PPP. If you're honest, they don't give you shit. I know. I see the people that got arrested, and I know they denied me. So, man, this country it was built off our backs, and it's continued to be built off of our backs. You probably have no idea about the complexity of the prison industrial complex. You probably have no idea how that started and how it's affecting free people. The mechanisms they used is the foolishness you see in today. And all they're doing is keeping the jails full because they have a contract. And that's just one part of it. We won't even talk about the money side. That's why you're seeing all these exonerations. Those were slaves. Do you understand how fucked up this country is? You just grab a Black man off the street and throw him in prison. Guess how much money they make off of him? I'll give you one example. 15 years. That's worth $7.1 billion. They package your ass up on the stock market and they sell you as Derivatives, they sell you as warehouse dry goods. That's what you're classified as a prisoner. They work the hell out of you. You know the biggest employer of prison labor is? This very same government. Some states would not exist. They wouldn't survive if they didn't have that prison labor. So, man, stop with that foolishness. Go learn something, man. I'll end there.
You said a mouthful, Brother Don. And Black America, you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
I just want to say for me, it's all love. But I think we got to come correct. And, like Brother Don said, I see a whole lot of people in here. We got to kind of, know what we're talking about. We don't want to label our people in the way that the oppressor does. We get enough of that. But regardless, again, as to what we do with the money, the debt is owed to us. Nobody else has to answer to what you gonna do with the money. If I give you the money, nobody else has to is asked that or answer that. And I will say this too, and I'm not just saying you Black American, but I get tired of people talking to us like we are infants. You know what I mean? Not just white supremacy. You have the Boule, you got the Divine Nine, same thing. NAACP, all of them. They talking down at Black people. I'm gonna mute this mic a little bit. At Black people as if we don't know what we're doing or what we're talking about. Like, even again, like I said, if we do blow the money, it's ours to blow. But the other thing too is the government, they don't want to give it to us, but they're like, we got a lot of these folks out there talking about not giving it to them. Don't give it to them. They ain't gonna do right. Don't give it to them. So they're already kind of doing our job, right? Donovan, what say you?
Well, again, I agree. Everybody's got their opinion on how to do it. And, and it's really, we want the best for our people. Of course we do. But at the end of the day, we really can't tell people what they're going to do with the money. Already 98 or 97% of our wealth is given right back into the economy by Blacks. So we're already doing that. So we have a small percentage of us that are going to, do the right thing and do well. The numbers are already there. Unfortunately, just like Marcus Garvey said, some of us ain't no good here and we ain't going to be no good wherever else we go. And it's just that's just the nature of the beast. But that should not stop me from getting my check. See, right now they're talking about education. Oh, education's the key. Education's the key. If education was the damn key, with all these educated Black women out here, and I'm not like coming down on women, I'm proving the point. Black women have more education than Black men. That's a fact right now by the numbers, and just more educated Black women, right? With all these educated Black women, why aren't we doing better as a people? We're not. We are regressing. So education's not the key. We are in such a deep hole. The only thing that's going to get us out is the money. And just like Brother Don said, if I had $5 million down payment and almost $1 million annually, I don't need public housing if I could buy my own house and land. I don't need healthcare because I could buy my own healthcare. I don't need anything because I'm solving my own problem. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to be honest with you guys. The first thing I'm going to do, if I got $5 million down payment, I'm throwing the biggest stripper party in the Western Hemisphere. That's what I'm doing with my money. I don't care what anybody says. I earned it, $5 million. To the ancestors, $5 million. Strippers everywhere. Bring your application. That's what I'm doing with my money. Now, is that the smart thing to do? No, it's not. But that's what I want to do. Hey, people got their money. They're going to do what they want to do. And at the end of the day, if I don't have any money and I blow all my money, hey, I'll give you a better example. I'm a retiree from the military, right? I blow my money all the time in just doing stupid stuff. But the only thing that keeps me afloat is the fact that as long as there's United States government, I'm going to get a check. So I'm going to be okay at the end of the day. I'm going to have a check until the day I die. And, that's just the nature of the beast. But we really have to stop taking those talking points of why we shouldn't have the money. How about this? I'll go one better. why don't we get the money first? Then we debate what we should do with it. How about that? That would be a better way to do it. Give us our money first, the first down payment, the $5 million. Then we could debate who should spend what and do whatever they're going to do. That's my answer to it.
Brother Kyle, can I see your face before I put you on the big screen? Brother Kyle? Got you. All right. And put you up there. I'll mute you. Uh-oh. I'm sorry.
No. Am I on there?
Yeah. Yep. What you got to say, brother?
Okay. Well, I was just saying, I was thinking because, see, it's so many variables, so many things that we have to, hurdles that we have to jump through to get this. And it seemed to be a lot of Black people. And I'm not saying this to diss us, because I sometimes we have a type of different mentality than being together, especially the NAACP. I think that we should get a law, also have them, we should sue the NAACP, because they've been really, really stopping our achievements and opportunities. A lot of these boule organizations have been going on for years, like the Negro, the League, all these other little boule organizations. We need to hold them accountable. All I'm just trying to say.
Brother Kyle, where are you from? You from the West Coast, ain't you?
No, I'm originally from Chicago, from the South Side, but I do live on the West Coast now.
I know a West Coast accent when I hear one.
Well, I've been here. Well, I've been here for a while, but I'm originally from Chicago, born and raised. I mean, I'm from the South Side, so and like I say, I'm really familiar, because even coming up in the city, a lot of those little boule. I mean, a lot of the we support a lot of them in Chicago. We support them because they're in the community, but they don't do nothing. The NAACP ain't never did nothing for the brothers and sisters in Chicago as far as in a group. It's another league that's another one, because they have another one. They supposed to go. You go there. I remember I went there a while back, and they'll give you a job, try to help you get employment, stuff like that. But they don't do that. And then if they do sometimes give you a employment or something, it's something that you can't. It's not even enough for you to feed your family with. So I just say, like, it's like I get tired of all these boule organizations always want to step in and stop progress. They always talk about progress, but when we are trying to make progress go forward, here you got this old bootleg, coming out saying, we need programs. We need another program created, like we need another hole in our head. Okay, so yes, we do need that money, and I hope they change everything for San Francisco to get that reparation. So I mean, it can start a domino effect.
Absolutely, brother. You brought up a good point, and others are saying that we should sue the Congressional Black Caucus as well, because
absolutely,
yeah, they've been advocating for everybody else but Black people. Right? There's the only mission statement, if you go look at it, that says Black and everybody else, but everybody else's caucus's mission statement, like Hispanics, Asian, whatever, they say specifically for their people, but the Black caucus say Black people and other people. Like, wow. Y'all been helping other people and you ain't helped your people yet? Okay.
And that's not. And excuse me for cutting you off, Demetra, but I was going to say this too. I think that instead of us trying to go after, trying to make these people, I think that we need to push it up a little bit, and we need to get a civil class lawsuit against all of these different companies that we've been spending our money with, and they haven't done nothing but give us grief. General Mills, I would say we need to sue them for having Ancient Mama and all them Black people. Now they supposed to take that stuff off so it don't degrade, but the damage has already been done. People been buying these foods and stuff for years, and these foods that they put these ingredients in is killing people. It's killing people. It's not even aware. I mean, they don't even really be. It's just so much that we need to really actually just say, you know what? Let's just get a class suit. People sign it, and we can just go out there and sue every major company that has deliberately did something that did not like I say, did not do nothing for our community at all, but make us look like we was funny characters.
I love it 100%. G Israel, how are you doing this fine evening?
I'm doing pretty good. How y'all doing today?
We're doing well. What's on your mind?
Well, I'm not sure if anyone brought this up. I kind of came in a little late, but I wanted to speak on like the whole reparations that they got planned in San Francisco. We should, if we're going to receive this reparation, I believe it should not be in American dollars. If we're going to receive any money from them, it should be in gold and silver. Because when an economy crashes, when a fiat dollar crashes, there's no value in that paper. So they could give us $5 million, but if the economy were to tank, which is literally heading in that direction right now, they could give us $5 million and it could literally only buy us a soda. So if we truly want wealth, that was taken away from us, it should be compensated in gold and silver. And that's what they made Haiti pay back to France, was in gold. We should be receiving our money in something that's going to hold its value, and it's something that should be traded and can be traded all around the world, regardless of what the economy is doing. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay, wait. Can I ask you a question real quick, though?
Sure.
The first thing I would do with my money is convert.
Yeah. How do you pay somebody in gold and silver when there is no gold and silver in the United States anymore?
No, they definitely have gold and silver. The Federal Reserve is holding gold and silver, and till this day they're still mining it. And they might not have it in the banks, but they truly do have it in their reserves.
Well, yeah, but there's none on the continent of the United States, and it's not here in the United States. That's for a fact. Fort Knox is completely empty.
Well, and let me also give it some historical context. And our brother Israel, you know what happened with Muammar Gaddafi? Do you?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely familiar with what happened to Muammar Gaddafi.
And I wasn't trying to give you like a quiz or nothing. That it just kind of came out wrong. But we know that he was trying to get away from the dollar, right? Mm-hmm. You're trying to get all African people all over the world. Let's use our own money. Let's get away from the dollar. And you know what happened to him? And they're saying that's why, because he was talking down on the dollar. And if you go back in history, everybody else that was talking about getting away from the dollar, J.F. Kennedy was one of them. They're no longer here. So I hear what you're saying, because let's admit gold and silver is more valuable. However, they're never going to move away from the dollar. And anybody who is really talking about doing it, hasn't had a really good ending for them. But I get why you're saying what you're saying. But until then, I'll take my money in dollar bills. I get what you're saying, though.
I'll add on to that, Demetra.
I can understand everyone having their own opinions, but the true wealth is not in this paper, in these paper dollars. It's not backed by anything, and it could collapse at any moment. And if you look at what the other countries are doing, like China, they're literally getting rid of their U.S. reserves slowly, but they're getting rid of it faster than they ever did. And they're buying as much gold and they're mining as much gold as they can, because they understand the volatility of the market. So it's something to just keep in mind. And if we are going to accept any money, it would be wise of us to convert it into gold and silver as soon as we can, so we could actually hold something of value if and when the economy were to collapse.
That was my opinion, and that's exactly what I would do in fungible amounts. So I have gold now that I converted, the majority of my cash into gold. And that's what I'm holding, because I'm watching. And see, all this stuff is orchestrated. And, they'll give us the reparations when which is like you said, when the dollar has no value. It's like, oh, we gave you reparations. So, they'll give it to you so that they can say they gave it to you. But when they reset this whole financial market, what's that going to be worth? So I'm not really holding my breath on all this stuff, to be honest with you, because of the fact that everything that's going on. And it's just, I'm watching my book get fulfilled in front of my eyes. So I'm really not, I'll take the check, but I'm not really expecting this, because you got to look at it like this. If the board of supervisors approves it, before a nickel gets dispersed, you know where it's going. It's going to go either, it's going to go downtown, but one side of the street or the other, the state court or the federal court. That's exactly where it's going to go. And there it will be tied up until this country is destroyed. So if you didn't know, we're surrounded, by the way. You guys didn't know, we're surrounded by this.
Can I say this for folks? Have you guys noticed that they put out these astronomical numbers that even the layman of us, the ones that just have a general education, just street smart and common sense, because drug dealers are good with money, so and numbers. So don't talk about that. They're stupid and stuff. That's not true. But they put out these astronomical numbers. Have you guys noticed that they know it won't be acceptable and it's unrealistic, even though they put them out to bring the number down and say, hey, well, what about, we can't give you 5 million, but what about 250,000? And you got a lot of the boule that says it's a one-time payment. We've been saying, always say that's a good start. I think they're doing all of this to lowball us, just like they did to that guy with the black beach. What was the point of selling the beach back for $20 million? He can do what he wants with his money, but he sold it back for $20 million when he could have made $500 million. Beach property in California. I mean, come on, it didn't make any sense. So I'm kind of looking at the fact that they are setting this up. If they owe us 20 trillion, now you guys put your business hats on. They say that they owe us 20 trillion as a minimum, 20 trillion. If I could get you guys to negotiate 2 trillion, who makes out in a situation like that? I do. Because I don't have to pay the whole 20 trillion. I got you guys to settle for 2 trillion. That's still a lot of money, but it's not 20 trillion. And that's what I think they're trying to do by throwing out these astronomical numbers so that we could bring down what we are owed.
If you haven't watched Jason Black's series on, no, is it Jason Black? Or Professor Black's Truth series on who owes us reparations? It's a 4-part series. It is dope. It's like, wow, I didn't know that. Wow, I didn't know that. And I consider myself, kind of educated on this stuff. So it's a trip how many companies and organizations owe us reparations because they all made money off our back.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the list is never ending. You know what I mean? So, because a lot of times when we talk about the debt that is owed, we think about it, just from slave master in Tennessee somewhere. But it's corporations that have a hand in it, and so when we think about reparations, it's from everybody. Everybody owes it. I mean, they are still benefiting from the labor of our ancestors to this day, right? That's why, like, a lot of times you hear people say, well, my family, that was a long time ago and I don't own slaves. It's like, yeah, but you benefiting off of it. It's still right now. So why should we not benefit from the work that our ancestors actually did? Brother Kyle?
Yeah, and I was going to say yes. I mean, and that's one thing we have to look at too, because I've seen that the authority, the Black Authority, his that documentary as far as companies and everybody. So it's just not the like you say the plantation owner. It's these companies, these corporations that's still doing business. And the thing about it is that the really sad thing about it is that a lot of these corporations that because I'll be watching, because I don't like to spend my money with people that has some type of disdain or against me or my people. So I try to really watch my pennies on where I spend my money or circulate my money with. But a lot of the products and stuff are still in the stores, and a lot of the people still buy these products because I guess they grew up with them and stuff. Kellogg's and all that. I don't buy that stuff. I think that people need to stop and need to really actually start changing their diet and try and start doing stuff a little bit more natural. But to each his own. But if we could just start watching our money and stop buying and patronizing these companies, and we know these companies had a hand in our demise, stop patronizing them. We have to learn how to stop patronize people that we think that are our friends or good companies. They ain't done Coca-Cola, none of them Sprite. They will sit up here and put these black athletes up here thinking that this is something that is going to make us buy because they're drinking it. I don't care what they drink. I drink water. Where's the athletes that's promoting fresh spring water? Them are the ones I want to see.
Well, and I totally agree with you in regards to doing better, but the corporations ain't never gonna go against themselves. If they could sell you, well, Coca-Cola used to be, I was gonna say crack, but cocaine. But if they could sell you that legally, they're gonna sell it to you. But it really is, like you said, up to the consumer to make better choices. But corporations are never going to say, well, we're gonna, rule on the side of the people. They do not participate in utilitarianism, which is for the greater good. That's not something they do. It's all about
no.
themselves.
Yeah, they about their money. Yeah, they ain't gonna lose their money, but it's the consumers that's feeding them, that's making sure they're in business. If we stop buying, they will go away.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I just wanted to say one thing, because I'm about to check off of this, and I totally agree with my brother. If the corporations see that we're moving different and they're losing money, it's gonna behoove them to switch up what they're doing in order to attract us again. And at the end of the day, the people do have the power, but we have to recognize it. And just to go back to the point that I want to close on, and in terms of like the whole reparations, like we're a poor people, so let's not be like, when they say $5 million, we look at that as a lot of money, but it's really nothing. It's a drop of it's literally a drop in a bucket. And if what the economy looks like it's about to do, and it does fall, because two banks already, if not more, already went solvent. Two regional banks, large regional banks, went solvent, and recently, if we all been following along, if the economy does collapse, whatever money, paper dollars that they give us is not going to be worth half of what we think it's worth. And if you pay attention to what happened in the Great Depression, and also in other countries, in Germany, they were literally burning their money for heat because the money had no value. So, and they needed to heat themselves, so they were burning their money. So I just wanted to throw that out there, for those who didn't know. And thank you for the opportunity.
It's our pleasure. Please come back again.
I will. Right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, I wanted to say something about just on that NAACP on that topic. That place, that the property that the church owns, it's all subsidized. It's subsidized up to market rate. Okay, so you got some people that might be paying $180, right? But the market rate on the unit they're in is $5,000. So guess who makes up the difference? The city. And then also, what was I going to say? We talked about so much stuff today, and it's like people really show their hands. It's like some people need to go work on their post-traumatic slave syndrome and need to seek help about that, because that whole crab in the barrel thing, stop worrying about what your brother's doing. Look, that's what I was going to say. Nobody said anything about the hundreds of millions of dollars given to Facebook, Uber, Lyft, Twitter, LinkedIn. Nobody says anything about that. All the money they get in incentives and things of that nature. I just, it's like a lot of these corporations wouldn't be able to function if they didn't get free money from the government. And it's because they get propped up with that free money that they're able to achieve what they are achieving. And so they need to just stop it. Just stop it. The amount of welfare that these people get from the government, these corporations and stuff like that. And then nobody's checking the pockets. Nobody's checking the pockets of other people that are receiving reparations. Nobody's checking those pockets. So get up out of, see, they always worried about black people because they know black people get something. They know from history what we can do.
It's over.
We'd be opening our own towns. We'd be opening our own towns, having our own businesses. We don't need y'all no more. We want to get away from y'all. Y'all have been the bane of our existence. Get away from us. And they know that will happen, but they can't do without us. That black magic, they got that. They got to be around us. They lost their minds when during that lockdown. They didn't have nobody to harass. They didn't have anybody to get a microaggressions to at the office. They was mad. They can't live without us, man. Anyway, I'm gonna let this other brother talk.
All right, Super Mike, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing, Miss Demetra K?
I'm doing
Thanks for good. Thanks for letting us speak on the topic. I just wanted to adjust the title real quick. Of course, the Divine Nine, which one of my sisters is part of, and my cousin. But they've been trained, from what I gather. A lot of these people have been trained to believe that they are somehow a little bit superior to the average. And that sort of propaganda works on them. They think that they are somehow a little bit different. And of course, they are us. So they do come from the same places that we come from. So they feel that they can speak for us, but really they're parroting, the will of, what they call the white supremacists or the controllers or the DNC or whatever. And just on the general note, the only thing I would say is we've been told the truth, but we're kind of walking into enough of us understanding the truth, which is that unfortunately we are not actual. I mean, we are technically citizens, but as far as I think, as far as the white supremacists are concerned, especially the ones who run this government, we are not true citizens and never will be, and so they don't want to give us anything as a citizen. We are a part of a property. So slavery, they just changed slavery. It became a public situation instead of private citizens owning people. So to them, we are like a group of people that they can kind of pass down to their generations, and as they lose the ability to control us, they know that their downfall, it's kind of coinciding with their ability to control us, because the bottom line is, it's just, that's pretty much it. We are the economy. We are the economy. As we wake up and start doing for ourselves, they don't know how to run a fair economy. They don't know any other way to do it. All they know is capitalism, which is basically slavery, is stealing from one group of people and spreading their wealth to others. So they don't know any other way to do that. So if they can't steal from us anymore, who they're going to steal from? Each other. So that's it.
Now, and you know what? I love the point you made in that it used to be citizens, private citizens owning, black people. Now it's a corporation or the government that's owning black people. And I don't know if that went over a lot of people's heads, but we know that corporation is now a prison. So you made an excellent point. Slavery has not gone anywhere. It's just changed ownership.
Yeah, if I can, I want to say one more thing, and then I'm gonna land my plane and get on off. I appreciate you letting me on, Miss K. I look at your show a lot, and I really appreciate the things that you're doing. But yeah, a lot of people are still kind of asleep because slavery never ended. And a lot of people think that it has, and we're, like you said, we're now enslaved by the corporations, the governments, and we're not enslaved by individuals no more. So it's just time for people to just start, instead of, we need to just come together and start thinking a little bit more. It's so sad sometimes because I went to school and they taught us how to research and study things, and it seems like nowadays people are walking like they're asleep, and they not even. I don't understand it. So yeah, I think that people need to just wake up and start knowing what they need to do. Because I'm not gonna wait for no reparations for checks. I don't know if it's coming. I'm gonna still build my business and keep going, even though I need money. But I'm just gonna go ahead and just bank off my own a belief and my own, energy to get my own money. So I'm gonna land that plane, and I wish everyone the best. And thank you very much again.
Thank you, Brother Kyle. Come back and see us again.
Okay, I sure will.
Bye-bye.
And may I make?
Oh, absolutely. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to just make one last point and then get off too. Is part of my solution space, because I don't really like to say stuff like that without kind of putting at least something of a solution. It may not be the solution, but what I think. Like I was saying, these people don't know how to change their economy in order to be fair. But we're having a hard time changing our economy too. We don't. This is one of our problems. A big problem, I should say. To depend on each other. We don't trust each other like we need to in order to survive. We're individualistic because we had to be. That boils down to us in our own families. These lessons that we have to learn in our own families. Organize your family, organize your nieces and nephews and sons and daughters. Make sure that you raise your kids to start companies. You got to learn that stuff. It's up to your survival, because you can't do everything yourself. You can't. No one individuals can't secure their rights from groups. Like one individual, you may have rights, but you can't protect your right unless you're a part of a group. Only groups can protect rights from groups. So, as long as we still living in this la la land, like we can do everything by ourselves, we have to go through the pain, the suffering, the irritation of organizing our families, not cutting each other off, dealing with each other's issues, and, figure that thing out on how to keep these little relationships that we got, so that we can actually protect ourselves as this situation falls, because they're just poisoning us, killing us, slaughtering us, and all the kind of stuff that they're doing to us, and we're just not being able to really respond properly. So that's all I got to say. I appreciate you guys.
Oh, we appreciate you, Super Mike, and please come back and see us again. Oh, and I just want to let y'all know, if y'all came on late, I got wax on my mouth because my braces were bothering me. So it's not that I'm chewing gum or something like that. It's just wax on my braces. But Brother Don and Donovan, let me ask y'all this. Do y'all think if we got the money, more Black people would have the capital to start businesses? Because there's a lot of Black people that got business ideas and things like that. They just don't have the money. So what do y'all think?
I think that it has been proven that if you give Black people a little bit of money, and in a not streaming it out, but give them a block of money, they'll take that money and do the right thing for themselves and their family. And the example that I have of that is this. There were more Black businesses starting during the lockdown than in any other time. Why? Because they got some money.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And I think they said the most businesses that were started during the pandemic was Black, or quite a few businesses.
You're correct.
Mm-hmm.
You're correct.
Yeah. So they got the money, the resources. So we got to add that into. Donovan, what say you?
Well, Brother Don took my talking point, but yeah, it's not just starting the businesses. which is factual, that we started business. There's a lot of ladies that are out there being entrepreneurs now that are starting their own little boutiques and shops and, whatever else they're doing. But the opportunity to buy land. I mean, you give us a block of money, there's going to be a bunch of us that are going to, right now, I guess the trend is to buy complexes, building complexes and things like that, apartments. As we know, you don't have to have a slot of land to put a nice apartment complex on there and, and pull rent out of it, if you're doing what you need to do. So absolutely giving us the money would be a game changer for the community as a whole. A lot of sisters I know, because sisters are pretty thrifty. One of the first things they're going to do is start paying off that student debt and that student debt loan. But why can't we just say, you know what, we want our money, and you need to rescind student debt payments for people that are African American, ADOS equivalent or whatever, so we can still get our money and we can start from scratch. Well, why can't they do that as well in the negotiations? Why are we taking the low fruit? If we're going to go into the negotiations, let's go in there hard charged with everything that we need to solve, rather than saying, okay, we've got all this debt, educational debt that we owed. You're going to wipe all of that out, in addition to the $5 million down payment with the $1 million annually moving forward. So we need some really good negotiators in there that are actually going to speak for us and speak some damn common sense. But
exactly,
we need to stop this foolishness of, I don't need no woman, and I'm on my own, I'm independent. At the end of the day, we need each other. Black man, black woman. Let's stop the foolishness, and we need each other.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And I also want to go ahead.
One of the other provisions in that in the reparations proposal is a house for $1.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I got $1. I got $1, and when I move off the continent, that'll be my Airbnb.
Right. LS, I'm gonna put you up here. And I want to touch on something that Super Mike said in regards to teaching our own families and, having those conversations and building with our own families is absolutely right. A lot of times we try to go save the world, but we haven't even saved the people we live with. How many of us educate our parents or educate our children about the need for Black schools, recycling the Black dollar and building Black businesses? How many of us had that conversation? I mean, I would imagine a lot of us do, but we often think, I got to go put on my cape, go out there and save people I don't know. It's like, no, if everybody would save everybody in your house and educate them, then we'd automatically be better off, I would think, right? Educate each other. Because a lot of times I hear people say, oh, well, the schools don't educate us about money. Well, shouldn't you be educating your own children about money? Now, listen, I suck at math. I'm not going to lie to y'all. Algebra, no, I couldn't tell you anything about it. But I do know how to count money. I know how to save money. And, I ain't dibble and dabble and investing a little bit. So the point that I'm making is, if you can at least do that, you'll be better off, right? But we got to start with our own family, the people that we could touch and talk to faster. LS, what's going on with you?
No, I mean, I was just, what you saying is serious, but the reason I kind of laughed is because some of our family members don't see it. Some of our own flesh and blood don't see it. Even when we have property that has been left to us by our ancestors, parents, grandparents. The brother that was talking earlier saying he wasn't going to leave anything for his children. Bro, that's a mistake. If they screw up the money, that's on them. Leave them something. The words say that a good man leaves an inheritance. So leave an inheritance. I mean, granted, teaching them what y'all are speaking to now, education, what they may need to do in the future, how you have to move through this life. It is part of their inheritance, but it's not a tangible you can fold up and put in your pocket or go buy something with every time. So, we just got to be smart when recompense comes to us, whether it be from the government or our ancestors, so to speak. But as far as the $5 million are concerned, Black Boule members, I mean, they're doing what they were trained to do. You know, I think Mike said it best. From what I heard, I started having some technical difficulties. These YouTube streets don't like me, but that's fine too. But you know, we should not be doing anything to change their mind about giving up what they should have been given all along. You know, I mean, it's what the other brother said about not spending with certain companies. I totally get that. But what's crazy is, you know, and I had thought about this before he said, I don't know if anybody had mentioned it yet. I'm sure y'all are aware that we've been told that African Americans drive the economy. Well, if we drive the economy, what will $5 million to each one of us do? It's going to drive the economy even more. So stop playing, cut the check. You're paying the Afghans and Ukrainians who don't have no ID, social security card, pot to piss in or window to throw it out of when they get over here until they get them keys to their place that the government gives them. Cut us our check. Stop playing. Or we need to all camp out all over DC and make it hard for them to move like insurrectionists.
Oh boy, we're gonna talk about that too. Allegedly, what might happen on Tuesday. But I want to acknowledge Jeremy has awakened comment. And how you doing, by the way? He says, talked to my 72-plus-year-old parents last night. They refuse to see or change. I've been teaching my daughter what my parents taught me and what they refuse to accept. Yeah, well, you know, unfortunately, a lot of our parents are set in their ways. But I will say this. I have a life insurance policy for my daughter. You know, I'm not married or anything like that. If I did, I'd have a life insurance policy for my husband as well. But I think it's irresponsible, for one, to not to teach your children about money and to not leave a legacy. That baffles me too. Like, I wouldn't leave my daughter here without giving her, making sure she has some of what I've earned, right?
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we do, and I think that's kind of a because my thing is this: you can't take it with you. You know what I'm saying? When you die, you're gone. You're not taking all that stuff with you. So, and also, you can't control what happens to that stuff. But you can, but when you're dead, like, how would you even know people are doing what you want them to do? You know what I mean?
Right.
So
that won't
You
even.
know what? I'm glad somebody mentioned it. I'm glad somebody mentioned it because this guy had a couple spirits on him. I didn't want to bring it up because I didn't want to provoke the situation, but he had a spirit of anger on him and also a spirit of selfishness. Like the brother was saying, a good man leaves an inheritance for his children. You know, why wouldn't you want to give your children the best possible leg up that you can give them? Because this is what these other folks are doing. They got 3 and 4 life insurance policies to pass something on to their kids, you know? So the thing is, it's like for us, the life insurance policy is like the best way because a lot of us don't own property. You know, and that's just the reality. That's the way the game was rigged. So, I mean, and the folks that did own some property, well, they saw what happened in 2008. So, you know.
Well,
Some of us are victim to gentrification. My bad, Donovan. Go ahead.
No, you hit it exactly what I was going to talk about. Gentrification. Go ahead.
Oh no, that here in Atlanta, man, gentrification is on overload. I mean, they even admit in the AJC newspaper that Wall Street companies intentionally target. Target is my word. That's not the word they used in the article, but that's exactly what they're doing when you're coming through and buying 5,000 homes at a time. 5,000 homes at a time. And to speak to what the brother who was just speaking, talking about the minister out there in San Francisco, Raphael Warlock, I said Warlock, hear me, Warlock did the same thing here. Evicted people out of the apartments that Ebenezer Baptist Church owns while he was running against Herschel Walker. But what did our educated brothers and sisters do? Voted for Raphael Warlock. If you don't want to work for Herschel, fine. Don't vote for neither one of them.
You know,
Absolutely.
but I was going to say educating the next generation in regards to our properties and stuff like that. One of the biggest problems in the Black community is when it becomes between generations, in my opinion, is we don't communicate to the next generation and tell them what they need to know. Demetra will tell you, and I'll tell you, living here in California, when they built that big ass stadium and they public domain the property to take the property from these people, they negotiated a low price. Now, don't get me wrong, a lot of this $250,000 is a lot of money, but they could have gotten far more if they knew the value of what was being presented to them. A $6 billion stadium, they buy $250,000. Okay, they give you $250,000 from the city. Where in the hell in California can you buy a house that's worth $250,000 that's going to replace what 4 generations of your big mama spent raising you in that, you know, and your dad and your mom or whatever in that home that's been there?
That's it right there, Donovan. That's it right there, Donovan. I mean, you said it. They don't know the true market value, and whatever chump change they handing out, you can't buy a place and stay with that. You'll have to spend that and pay some more, and that's exactly what's happening here in Atlanta. So, and it's the Black Boule members that did it, that sat by and watched it happen. I mean, they even closed. I put it in the chat. I don't know if anybody saw it. They even voted to close homeless shelters. With your girl Keisha, Black Girl Magic, she was the one who made it where you got to get a permit to feed the homeless. But these are Black brothers and sisters. There ain't no brothers and sisters of mine. And just because you my skin don't mean you my kin. You got to go by your fruit.
Yes, indeed. And thank you, Honeydew. I love and appreciate you for that. Say knowledge ain't free. And if, again, you guys want to donate, you can, but at least like the video. But, you know, I'm glad that we are having this conversation about leaving a legacy. And Donovan, and you all, you know, said it perfectly. Teach your children what to do with it. You know, you got a lot of people, I'm not going to leave it to them because they're gonna mess it over. But did you teach your children what to do with the house or the investments or the money? Or did you teach them? You know what I mean? Or did you just hoard all the information and amassed all the fortune and did not teach your children? White people, and I'm not even saying just white people, I'm saying wealthy people, right? And people who aren't so wealthy, they do teach their children about money. Donald Trump, we're going to talk about him in just a second. He said, my children got to go to school. They got to go get an education before they come up in this company because I want them to know something, right? So he made even though he probably didn't do that well in school, I know somebody going to say it, but at least he had the sense to say they at least need to go off and at least get a degree to come back and learn the family business. And if you don't want to go to school, like my father's a mechanic. My brother Walter, don't let the bouginess fool you. That Negro knows how to work on cars. He can fix a car because my dad is a mechanic, you know, and my dad would take him to work with him from probably 5 years old. We'll go to work and he took us all. I don't know how to fix a car, but I learned how to drive when I was like 11 in a big giant Cadillac. I remember to this day. But the point that I'm making is teach your children what you are doing. Teach your children what you know. My daughter could sit in this chair. If I said, hey, Deanna, I'm not feeling well today, or I'm going on vacation, can you take over my show? She could absolutely 100% do that. And her talking points aren't going to be off message. She ain't going to be all over the place with something else. She's going to be on message. And so the point that I'm making is teach your children how to use money. Show them what you were doing. Don't just say, oh, well, you know, mama, I got all this money in the bank, and not tell them how you did it. You know what I mean? Because then you want to get silly when it comes time for you to close your eyes. Well, I ain't going to leave them no money. They ain't going to trick off my stuff. Well, they going to trick it off because you didn't teach them how to keep it. Like Donovan said, in Inglewood, where they built the SoFi Stadium, they gentrified all those houses. Some people probably sold it. They got a big payday or whatever. But now it's like you messed up the rotation for everybody else in the neighborhood because the rent is unaffordable to most people. So we got to start educating our people.
These people are like the guy in the parable that Samuel told David. Y'all got everything, but you come over and steal our little lamb that was like a pet. come and take what we got, and you got everything. But that's okay, because this is why you're going to be destroyed. The Most High has already made those promises. He said, I will repay. I will repay. So there's a whole lot of repaying that's got to be done for the legacy that we've been through three enslavements.
Yeah,
This is just the last and final one.
And you know what? You're absolutely right. Easy. Thank you so much for the donation. I love and appreciate you. You always give. So thank you. And everybody else who always give, I love and appreciate you. You're right. We've been through quite a few enslavements. And I'm not saying you saying this, Brother Don, but that doesn't absolve us of unenslaving ourselves mentally. You know what I mean? By some of the things that we do. We know that when Christmas time comes, the economy is boosted by Black dollars. Why are we out there spending money with the oppressor to buy, stuff instead of, like, how many times have people bought their children books? How many computers did you buy your children so they can learn more? Did you go buy them an experience, or did you just go out there and buy more stuff they didn't need? Did you buy them, some stocks, some bonds, or a life insurance policies? That's not really cute to open under a tree, but they'll sure appreciate it when the time comes. Like my daughter, I have a life insurance policy on her, and it has what we call, a living investment, or something that I can use now. I can draw money out of that policy if I needed it, because it's also, invested part of it into the stock market. So there's things that we can do to really maximize our money, but we got to stay. I did a video years ago, and I asked the question, how many car washes does it take to have a funeral? Well, the answer is, who knows? You know what I mean? Because we see people out there washing cars and trying to bury mama, and it really gets me when I see them out there trying to bury children. Like, it really, really does, right? But then when I get off from being emotional, I'm like, well, how many times does somebody go knock on their door or call them and say, hey, such and such gave, because I used to sell insurance, so I know how it goes. Such and such gave me your number and said that you would possibly be interested in hearing and learning more about life insurance. Oh, I'm good. Oh, that's another bill. But then when it comes time to need a life insurance policy or to bury a loved one, it's like, oh, I'm going to need y'all to chip in. I got this GoFundMe. Are we selling plates at the church? It's like, how many plates do you really need to sell? I mean, funerals are expensive nowadays, right? So there's a lot of things we could be doing.
How about this, Demetra? My mom passed away almost a year ago. She and my grandmother in 1972 went and bought 3 plots. Yeah, 3 plots. And the cost of the plot at that time was $12,000. If you try to get a plot today, oh my goodness, you're talking about $35,000. And then you still have the opening, the closing, the casket, all this stuff. I mean, it cost us, I think, because my mother had taken care of some things, like her headstone and stuff too. I think it cost us like $9,000, even with the leg up that she prepared. It still cost us like $9,000. And yeah, it is not inexpensive. It is not inexpensive, and especially if you're trying to be all bougie with it. So
And you know how we do. We ain't trying to just have no simple funeral. We want to have routines and BB and CeCe whining, singing at the funeral, and
second line.
my mother gave explicit instructions. Well, it was just her children.
Well, the sad
just
thing
her
is,
children. No funeral.
Yeah,
no funeral. Just their children at graveside.
Yeah, the sad thing is Jamie Loons, I hope I said that right. Luna says cremation, right? Here's the bad thing about cremation. Cremation is such a popular thing now that it used to be so inexpensive, but because a lot of us, especially in the Black community, we do not have insurance to bury our loved ones in a proper way, that cremating has become very popular. And just to cremate somebody, and I can only speak for California, you're talking about almost $12,000. That's to cremate somebody.
Yeah, because you hear about these policies. Oh, for $399, you can have a whole cremated. No, that's not true. Because, and my condolences to you, brother Don, I lost your mom. My mom passed in 2016, and I can tell you, you said a mouthful there. Every time you move the body, you have to pay. It ain't free. Like you said, the opening and the closing of the ground. So there's a lot of stuff you even got to do before you get to the cremation. So I don't know where they talking about these specials, but then you got to buy the urn, and it's like a lot of things you got to do. So it's duping people. But the thing is, just get a policy. If you have a baby right now, 10 days later, you can get that baby insured, and you'll pay that same price depending on what policy you get for that baby until the baby goes on to glory, right? So there's no excuse at this point, but that's what wealthy people do. They often funnel, I don't want to say funnel like it's a bad thing, but they store a lot of money in life insurance policies, and that's how they leave legacies. They make their children the beneficiary in addition to the wealth that they amass. So, and I want to read Angela's comment. And how you doing, by the way? It says, my children's father remarried and he's passed, left them nothing. They're beneficiaries of my policy, and I've taught them about generational wealth, which they'll have. See, and that's the other thing too. You know, if you are remarried or whatever, get a policy for your children. Like they can never have too much money, right? It's a horrible thing to leave here and leave your children nothing, or at least not leave your children a way to take care of your final expenses, right? That's very hard to do. I've seen it. Especially like being a life insurance agent. I'm not anymore. I'm just saying when I was, I seen it. And I was like, I had people calling. Mom called. My mama died. I'm trying to call and check on the policy. Well, your mom's policy lapsed months ago. Oh, well, you know, we don't know what we're going to do. And I'm like, eesh. And I hate to say it, a couple of times I have to tell people, well, you know, in some cases you can donate the body to science. I know that's not the optimal thing, but you can donate the body to science if you know, because at one point in time in Los Angeles County, they said it was like 80% of bodies being left in the county morgue because people didn't have the means to come pick it up. Like you can't back up the minivan and go put mama in the back of it. They won't let you do that. You know what I mean? So there's a lot that the county at one point in time was just cremating bodies because people were not coming to get the bodies past the time that they needed to go do that. So
the question is often asked, when does one become a millionaire?
You said you were asked when one becomes a millionaire?
The question becomes, when does one become a millionaire? Before or after they have the $1 million?
Before.
Exactly. See, we have that. That's the mindset you guys have. You were trained, and we just grew up in a different kind of era. We really grew up in a different kind of era because, like I was telling you about my mother and my grandmother, how responsible they were. Yeah, so you know, it is. We got to get back to the traditions of our people.
And I also want to say here before we get out of here, I see a lot of people talking about burial plots. Burial plots are good, but a lot of times the burial plots themselves were sold to us as Black people. Y'all know that the fact that we are underinsured as Black people is due to racism, because they being white supremacy knew if they sold us the right policies that we could amass wealth, because that's how they've been able to do it. I'm gonna put you on mute, Black America. They knew that was the way to amass wealth, and so they would sell us these plots. Now, again, I got a lot of stories for y'all, but I would often talk to people who's like, oh, well, I'm good. I got a plot. My mama and them bought a plot 10 years ago. It's like, okay, good. The plot is good, but do you know you got to pay to close it, to open it and pay to close it? You got to, you know, that you just paid for the plot. You didn't pay for all the other stuff that goes into having a funeral and, you know, and taking care of the body and all of that. And a lot of times they didn't know that. They thought that once they die, it's like, oh, everything's going to be taken care of. No, you just got the ground. You don't even, that doesn't even include opening and closing it. So we really got to educate our people. Get a freaking policy. Even if you get term insurance, get a policy. That way your people don't have to figure out how they're going to put you in the ground or whatever they're going to do with you.
Hey, Demetra, you know they have the policies that just cover the funeral. You can get a policy that'll cover the funeral and the opening, closing, and stuff like. You can get it just for that, to take care of your, your final resting place. You can get a policy just for that. My sister, she works with insurance companies, and it's through some kind of network marketing company. But anyway, she's like, listen, you've got a plot already, so why don't I get you a policy so that if you're living in Africa, they can fly you back and, bury you in that plot. I'm kind of thinking, nah, why don't I just sell it to one of you guys? Sell it to one of you guys and take the money, and I'll bury myself in Africa. How about that?
All
I'm
right.
be buried here anyway.
Now, Black America, before I talk about Trump, what say you? I say you came back on here. I'm scared.
No, you don't have to be scared. I just wanted to address the for one thing, is the brother from the Bay still on? Is that the dude in the cap?
Yes, Brother Don, yes.
All right. Brother Don, I am very intimately familiar with the industrial prison complex. So this is going all the way back, but I had the top down, so I really couldn't hear. I'm very familiar with it. I'm very familiar. How Bob Barker made his money for all of those years, and every piece of soap and shampoo that goes through the federal prison system, because that's where I was, it has his name on it. So as far as things like that, yes, it costs a lot of money to keep people in prison and things of that nature. But I heard somebody, you guys started, it went kind of far off the rails, like talking about death and taxes. And I have a question.
Sure.
I come from a big family, right? And when one of my grandmothers died, I actually had uncles and aunts going to the house to pilfer and pillage the house. You guys understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Doing the things and that's why when I said I gave my kids the tools to live a successful life, very successful. I don't need to leave them my things, because they're going to have their own things and they're going to earn their own things. You guys don't understand when people, it doesn't matter how you raise people. People have a wolf pack and a mean mentality. It happens with everybody. And I have quite a few kids. My kids aren't going to fight and tear themselves apart for the shit that they dad had. It's not going to happen.
Black America.
So
I gotta agree with that one.
How many children do you have, Black America, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't know, about 16.
You lying.
I'm a handsome man. You seen me. You seen a little glimpse of me.
I've seen a glimpse of you. You ain't bad on the eyes, but are you for real? You got 16 kids?
I used to be a handful. I started having kids when I was 16 years old. I'm 50 now, and I got a 5-year-old. So you kind of add that up from there, from being in the streets all that time to now.
All right, brother.
Better hope I don't get married again. I think I'm going to Brazil, go pick me up one of these 30-year-olds. I'm going because they bad. They bad.
Well, Donovan, but I think you did enough reproducing for you and I both, so you got us covered.
But I mean, hell, but you guys talking about, my thing is with this money and stuff like that, and then it's gonna be my last point. I heard somebody say whilst I was driving that we are the working class of this country. For years, they killed Martin Luther King. They killed Martin Luther King in 1968. They didn't kill him for all of his previous speeches. They killed him once he said, "I'm coming to get the check, and black people, put your money in black banks." It would cripple the economy if and when black people get any certain amount of money to where we fall out of the working class people. You see what I mean? Because all of those red states, it's a lot of poor white people. California, Las Vegas, uh, places like this on the West Coast, we supply New York, we supplied those poor trash states with a whole lot of money. You know what I'm talking about, Donovan, don't you? You know what I mean? So those poor states where those poor people live, and brother, I grew up in LA. Your existence, and I now live in Las Vegas. Your existence and growing up, it ain't no harder than none of us had to deal with. You understand? We all have had to deal with the same thing. Some people roads just lead it to different places. And some people had better outcomes, some people had worse outcomes. Some people got lucky. Hell, my older brother, he got killed 10 days after his 21st birthday. Some people have worse outcomes. And it makes you go down different paths and do different things. We not any different. It's just a different mindset. And and with so many different mindsets in our community, with mostly our Black women leading our community, we all have to agree on that. We all have to agree it's mostly Black women leading in these communities. It's no togetherness. They don't have to listen to nobody. They don't have to do nothing nobody say, brother. That money would be even more of a disaster for this country. And that's it.
I really don't care about what happens in this country. I honestly do not care about what happens in this country. Matter of fact, as soon as possible, I'm going to leave. I'm done with this place.
Let me say this, y'all.
I'm not leaving. Hey, let me tell you something. I've been all over the place, and I enjoy places, especially like Belize, bro. Beautiful places, but it's nothing like my good old turf right here. I will deal with the niggas and the cockroaches all day.
All right, brother.
We will have to have a whole different conversation, because what I see and what I believe and what I know, folks ain't gonna have a choice.
Well,
they're gonna have to leave.
That's leaving or staying is a conversation for another day. But Black America, I thank you so much for coming on here and giving this your honesty. One day we'll have to have more of a detailed discussion, I think. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about it. And Brother Thunder, he's asking me a couple of questions, so I do want to address them. Tuesday show, he said, "What happened to Tuesday?" Well, let's say that Donovan and I did the show, but I scrapped the show because we was it was a bad one. I was like, y'all don't deserve that. Y'all don't deserve that. So I decided not to put to air the show. I mean, we talked about some good things, but it was just like, yeah, it was bad. I was like, y'all would have been stressed out. So next Tuesday,
I was repping for the brothers. Y'all would have been proud of me. I ate her lunch.
Put it behind the paywall. Put it behind the paywall in the members only section.
It was so bad she didn't want to put it up because she was just speechless.
It wasn't for that reason. It was just it was hey, facts, not feelings. Y'all didn't deserve that anyway. Oh, you talking about Tuesday? Okay, Trump Tuesday. Okay, well, anyway. So anyway, Trump put out a tweet or something that says that Pretty E's going to be arrested on Tuesday for some things that in regards to Stormy Daniels and the money that took place there. Donovan doesn't think he's going to be arrested. I don't think he'll be arrested either. But if he does, for whatever reason, there's a lot of people who have spoken out, including that of former Vice President Pence, that basically said it's not right. Kevin McCarthy was like, it's not right. You know, a whole lot, the usual suspects talk about it's not right. So I think, it's my opinion, that if they do take him into custody, it's going to pop off. I really believe it's going to pop off. Now, Donovan and I discussed this at length the other day. He, for some reason, doesn't think that it will. And I'm like, see, you putting too much faith in, not necessarily him, but too much faith in these white folks. Y'all saw what they did on January 6th. They was not playing around. Now imagine if they take into captivity the person that told them to do it. what is going to happen. I firmly believe that they are perhaps preparing somewhere. If it goes down, this is what we need to do, right? I don't know. I just don't see them not doing anything. I don't see them saying, well, if he's got to go, he's got to go. Now, I'm in Houston, and at a couple places that I go, and I know those of you guys who live in the South, y'all see people with flags that say Trump country, Trump this, Trump that. I just don't see them sitting at home and saying, well, all right, next. I really think they're going to really act the fool. And he even said it. If that happens, y'all need to protest. Now, he's being nice, but we know that they're just simply not going to go in, let Trump out, free. They're not going to just do that. They probably going to do something else. And so I don't know. I could be wrong, but I don't know.
Hey, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. Like that. Y'all know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Okay, and we're gonna apply that to January 6th. It's not coming back out. They see what happened then. That was I'm not gonna say set up, although it turned out to be that way. I believe the vast majority of the people that came because they had an issue with the election, and there was some agent provocateurs in the crowd doing what they shouldn't, just like what happened in the quote Summer of Love. Everybody who was in downtown Atlanta wasn't there for the right reason. The people who went down there and set police cars on fire and did everything else that brought more police to the area weren't there for the reasons of quote social justice. What Raphael Warlock and all the rest would have us out here with BLM, a group that's taking in over, I think it's $89 billion. And have we seen any change in the community for that type of money given to them by the same corporate institutions that the brother just spoke of that he said we need to divest from? I mean, I don't see those white people falling for it again. And I mean, I don't even call it an insurrection. It was less than 1,000 people arrested, and less than 100 of those were actually violent charges. And with 41,000 hours of footage being hidden, and we know in our community that they hide things from us. When they are hiding something, that's a red flag you can see from the moon.
Oh, I don't know what happened to LS. Was it LS? Yeah, I don't know what happened to LS. I didn't click him off. It probably fell off. There we go. Okay. I don't know what happened. It wasn't me though.
I told you these YouTube streets don't like me.
Sorry that happened to you, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think they'll do it. There says some in the DA's office are like, well, it's not all of us that wants him arrested. It's some of these overzealous people that's trying to make a name for themselves. So will they actually do it? I don't know. Then it's like, will you go gaffle up Bill Clinton? He kind of has some misgivings there in the White House or whatever. So
like our educated sister here in Atlanta, the DA Fonnie Willis, whose claim to fame before she became the DA now was prosecuting teachers for the RICO, using the RICO Act and getting them sent to prison, tried to send a pregnant black lady to jail behind what was spawned from the No Child Left Behind policy from George Bush Jr.'s administration. That's her claim. She wants to lock Trump up. So instead of her focusing on the crime here and protecting the citizens of Fulton County, she wants to make sure she puts Trump in jail. Thanks, man. That's the black boule for it.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna go back to the comments before these YouTube streets come and get me. But to the third co-host out there, we with you and we coming back.
Thank you. We love and appreciate you, brother. So, Donovan, what say you before we get on out of here?
Well, like I always say in the modern day today, especially for Black people, they are hunting us. Keep your head on swivel when you're out there. But when it comes to the upcoming elections, everything's going to heat up and they're going to scare you with the boogeyman and all this other stuff. Demetra and I were talking about this a couple of days ago. And those of us, I'm in my 50s, I'll be 53 this year. Do you guys realize Generation X, we have seen so much stuff in our lifetime that other generations have never seen. My grandfather went through the Great Depression, World War II, whatever. You know, they went through a couple of things, but we've gone through wars, pestilence, two banking frauds, how many recessions? I mean, we've gone through all of this stuff. And this is the one thing I do not understand. And I want people to really take this seriously. We have to start realizing nobody is coming to save us. We have to start saving ourselves. We have to stop the foolishness. We have to stop the, I don't need this person. I don't need that person. I'm going to continue to say that. Okay. We've got to stop it. We've got, nobody's coming to save us. As long as we're divided, it's easier for them to pick us off. Very, very easy. And a lot of people are waking up. But at the end of the day, we're seeing these banks starting to weaken. We just went to 2008 where 30% of Black wealth was stolen by these predator lending tactics and all this other stuff. We have to learn from the past so that we could move forward to the future. Start teaching our children. Yes, some of us grew up in some horrific situations and stuff, but we're grown now. We don't have to listen to our parents now. We're above 18. We can make our own decisions. And I think the best thing to do is to admit, hey, this was screwed up, screwed up my neighborhood, whatever's going on. We've got to make it better for the next generation, because let's face it, like Demetra and I think it was last week or the week before, we were talking about, maybe it was that Tuesday, we were talking about how Korea, China, and Japan, their population is shrinking. Their population is shrinking because of the modernization and having women go out to the workforce, and everybody's got to do this, and they're not producing as much. If our culture is destroyed, or we destroy our own culture, what was all of this for? And that's what we got to remember. What was all of the sacrificing, the murders, the rapes that happened to our ancestor? What was it for us just to throw our hands up and just say to hell with it? We need each other at the end of the day.
You better believe it. We need each other, and that's the theme. And, you know, that's really the theme of our channel. Is Black women and men need each other. Black people, we need each other at the end of the day. And so we love and appreciate every last one of you guys. Thank y'all so much for helping be the third co-host, if you will. Donovan and I will be back on Tuesday. Well, maybe Donovan, he might not be able to talk on Tuesday. He's getting some dental work done. So I don't know. We'll see, right? But anyway, we'll be back. We'll behave ourselves on the next podcast. And of course, we'll be here with Walter. Wealth Wednesdays with Walter. I think he'll be out in Houston. I don't know. But anyway, we'll be back. So we love and appreciate every last one of y'all. Thank y'all for contributing, whether it's financially, whether it's a like or a subscription or, you know, whatever. We love you. We will see y'all later. You guys have a great evening. Peace.